how deep would you, or how can we navigate through these economic challenges that we're all facing right now? And to help us to discuss this is financial advisor Emmanuel Asuquo. Emmanuel, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I think the burning question would be, times are hard. As a
Every,
financial advisor,
listen, number one, January has the same days every single year. People are just, you do the same thing. You look at it now. I live in Bromley.
yeah,
We went to the high street today. The place was packed. Everybody has forgot cost of living crisis. Everyone has forgot bills have gone up. They're doing enjoyment. Come the 2nd of January, all of a sudden, it will slap everybody in their face. They'll be falling left and right. They'll be blaming the government. They won't blame themselves. You've put all of this spending onto credit card for what? For kids. The toys that you bought on the 25th are either are broken by the 2nd, or they've moved on to other things. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy. Now, you've said it. It's a cost of living crisis.
yes,
Inflation, cost of everything is going up. I always tell people, money, there's two things. You either reduce your outgoings so you get more, so you make cuts, or you increase your income. These are the only two things. People think I've got some magic wand or there's some tablet that they will take somewhere and money will just start to multiply in your. Unfortunately, that may be some other country, but here in this UK, you either cut back or you make more money, and that's what needs to be done.
and of course, it has been reported that this financial crisis, the economic crisis rather, will impact, especially the black community
Yes.
significantly.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you know
what
why?
would you?
Do,
No,
you,
I was
do you
about
know
to
why?
ask you why. Why
Why?
is that?
Why? Because we have been sold a lie that we go to school, we get our education, we get a job, that job will pay us, we get a pension, we work for 40, 50 years, and our life will be fine. It's a lie. The biggest problem we have is that we have one source of income. That is the biggest problem for us. We have one source of income. That means that one person can say whether you can feed your family or not. You have one source of income, and then you live to the maximum of that one income. And then the job says, oh, unfortunately, business decision, we don't need you anymore. You have no savings, you have nothing to fall back on. For me, I always say there are 365 days in a year. Why do you only get paid on 12 of them? If you did a test, Nigerians, Africans, you know how you start your children
Yeah,
to go to school
of
or
course.
test. If you did a test and you got 12 out of 365, would you clap for yourself? You wouldn't.
No.
But this is what we do. We go to work and we get paid 12 times. We need to understand that there is money to be made every single day, and you have to find how you can tap into that to try and increase your income.
Is that having a side hustle as well?
Side hustle, but even things that you have. I have clients. A lot good now for a lot of us. We may live in cities, so we may live in cities. You may have a car park space, but you might drive to work, or you might not have a car. You can rent it out. You might live near a stadium. You can rent it out. There are so many things you can do. I've got people that have nice cars. When they're not using it, because they take train to work, they rent it out. You can have a camera. You can rent it out on websites. You have clothes that you're not using. You can rent them. You can rent your clothes. You can sell your clothes. There's income. You don't even. If people think I have to be an entrepreneur, I have to have a limited company before I can start making money.
Emmanuel, this is not bad for me, because people watching right now will be saying, "What? I can rent my car? Oh, I should rent my car." So then the question is it so much about is it the mentality or what we've been taught from
Yes, it's the mentality.
yeah.
We have been taught consumerism. Yeah, we have been taught that money is designed for us to spend it. That's how we understand money. You get money and then you use it, you spend it, right? So even I always tell people, when you're a kid, you go to a Nigerian party, you dance, they give you, your aunties will spray you money. You get that money. If you're unfortunately like me, you give it to my mum. My mum will tell you, when you go back to ask for it, she'll say, how does the light switch on? How does this switch on? Your money's gone. But if your mum's good, you give the money back. What they do? I want to go and buy a suit. I want to go and buy this. You only understand the concept of money from what you can buy. When you start to understand money from a concept of money makes me money. What did Donald Trump say? My dad gave me a small loan of £1 million.
Yes.
$1 million.
Yes.
Small loan of 1 million. And today he's a billionaire. What does that teach us? It takes money to make money.
Wow. Okay. It's interesting because coming on the show today, when I told people that you were coming on here,
Yeah.
one of the main questions I got was, okay, Jones, I make £1,700
Mm-hmm.
a month. The cost of living, everything is gone up. I need to pay for my gas
Mm.
and electricity, and my bills. How do I save? What are the practical steps?
I think the practical steps, we got to think about understanding your needs versus your want. Yeah. So for a lot of us now, I tell us, for a lot of you're gonna leave when you die. What are your children gonna inherit? They're gonna inherit gele.
Yeah.
They're gonna inherit gele and lace and wigs and shoes. That's all. That's all you're leaving for them. You got to start understanding, what do I need and what do I want. You go to a party, they say this is the latest material. You don't have to buy. Some of you've got another shade. It might not be the exact purple, but you've got a purple in your wardrobe. Wear that purple to that party and keep your money for something else. But no, we go and buy and buy and buy and spend, and then we wonder why we don't have the money when it comes time to do other things. So what's important is, number one, understanding what you need versus what you want. Actually, look at your income and outgoings. I ask people, how much does it cost to be talked up? How much does it cost to live your lifestyle? Not people don't have a clue. They don't know what that amount is. But I ask you, what does your boss have for lunch? You know what your boss has for lunch. You know when you're going on your lunch break. You know all about your work. But your work is not your life. When you understand that your work is somebody else's dream, somebody had a dream and now they can afford to pay you. When you understand that is what work is, all of a sudden you see life different.
Yeah, I'm even taking a there's a lot to take from what you're saying right now. Again, right now, people are struggling.
Yeah.
Okay, and some people have lost their jobs.
Yes.
But when you come to, especially within an African setting,
Yeah.
I mean, you've talked about the fact that we've been lied to.
Yeah.
What do you think in your line of work? I mean, I'm sure you've dealt with,
Yeah.
white people and black people.
Yeah.
Compared to our white counterparts. What is it that they do that we don't do?
I don't think it's what they do, it's what they have. It's called network. You see, white people, they're in this country. They've got an uncle that has a business or works somewhere. Therefore, I go to church. My church is literally very close to here. I remember going to church, 500 people in that room. There's not a job board. All of this, everyone's coming. I'm pastor, I'm elder, I'm this, I'm that. There's not a job board. You can't even get the young people in this church work experience. You've been at that job for 20 years and you can't get somebody work experience. But today you're coming to pull your chest. I'm this, I'm that. Do you understand? We take priorities in the wrong thing. When I speak to my white clients, a lot of the time when they go through hard times, they've got an uncle, an auntie, a friend of a friend who can get them a job if they need a job. But they also understand that, okay, I'm doing this job, but what else? This is not my chosen thing in life. Like there's more to my life than just doing a job. For us, we will work. One thing that we have been taught and we can do well is work hard. They know us, we can work. I always used to say when we were young, a lot of our parents are working 2 or 3 jobs.
Yeah.
But were we making more money than our white counterpart that dad had 1 job? The dad had 1 job, but was making more money. But we working, when it comes to work, we can do that all day long. What I'm saying is how are we building wealth, ownership? The difference is that we're not in positions of power. So that should be our call. It shouldn't be the latest car, the latest clothes, the nice watch, go on holiday here. It's about ownership. What can I own? Because when I have ownership, I have a say. A lot of the time, the reason that they treat us in a certain way is we don't have ownership. I look at other communities that have come after us. You look at the Turkish community in North London. There's a whole street. They own every single shop. I had a client that he said, whenever one of these shops come available, we all gather and then we buy it and then we choose who's going to take it off us. They have that control through ownership. But we are comfortable being just not owning, being consumers. When we lose that mentality, and in a network, we don't talk. We always talk about knowing your worth. When do you even know what your mum earns, what your dad earns, what your brother earns?
You're getting into uncharted territory.
This is it. You don't know. So how do you know that you're getting your worth if you don't know how much people get paid for what you do other than what your boss is offering you? Because somebody might say, I'm getting 30K. And I think, that's good. But when you understand the person next to you is getting 45K to do the exact same job, how would you know? So you need to have a network outside of yourself. One of our problems is we're at home, we're watching Nollywood and thinking about Africa when we are here. Your problem is here in the UK. Start having some people that you can network in the UK. that can help you fix your problems. We're so focused on back home. We're still scared of cats and all of this flying in the night. Listen, we've got real issue here in the UK. We need to solve.
No, it's interesting you touched on this because this is very prevalent in our community where people are putting in the shifts here, but they're thinking back home. Do you think maybe it's time for us to maybe, shift our thinking, trying to invest back home then, and concentrate here?
I think the back home thing is fine, but not at the detriment. You have to let's do simple economics.
Yeah.
If I own a house in the UK, we have seen every 10 years, especially in the southeast. I remember, as black people, we mainly live in cities: London, Birmingham, Manchester. That is the main places where you'll find our community. So we live in cities. We have seen, especially in the southeast, every 10 years the house price doubles. And so what does that mean? And then also the rental income. So if I own a house here and it doubles, I'll pay the mortgage. I can always take money out of that property and go and invest back home. I've seen so many people talk about back home, but they never actually ever end up going back home.
Yeah.
They end up saying, I'm going to do this back home. They buy one land and say, yeah, back. And then they never build anything. They never do anything. And then your children are suffering here. Your children are forced to now rent because you don't own. You haven't given that leg up. Parent, you've got to give them the start. If I want my children to succeed, I must make sure that I have something that even when I go back home, they can still say, this is Asuquo. This is something that our family name that we own here, even if I'm going back there. We're missing a trick.
Asuquo, I can talk to you all day long. And I hope this is not the end. I hope, we can have you come back here again to talk to our viewers, because there's a lot that needs to be discussed, especially when it comes to managing our finances.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
And unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you guys for staying tuned with us. And also a big thank you to Julius Agnosewa and also Mr. Kofi Ali, ECOWAS Citizens' Rights Advocate. Keep the conversation going. Keep your thoughts coming in. And remember to tune in to Talk Africa on Channel 7. Okay, make sure you share. Don't just watch the show, all right? I keep saying this. This platform is created for us to have a space to discuss issues. The fact that we have Emmanuel here today is a testament to what we're trying to do. Okay, so do get involved. Let's come together as a community. Let's push the show, okay? And let's get people watching, because that's the only way we'll keep this going. Again, thank you for watching. And all being well, we'll see you next time. It's goodbye from us.